Chapter 4. The Chronicles. Buzz, 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 beep, buzz, buzz, beep, buzz, beep, 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 beep. Another day starts for the Chronicles. Opening his eyes, the small cube shape of space began to come into focus a bit better. The thin cot that he slept on, some warm cloth coverings, a desk with papers all over it, along with some books, and a rather annoying box. This horrible sound was coming from the box. It was designed to be annoying, and continued in its various rates of buzzes and beeps until anyone asleep in the area of its effect would be awakened. It also had a red flashing light all about it. With a light tap on the top of the device, deactivating it, all was quiet and peaceful once more. The quiet darkness was just what he needed to return to that amazing place in his dreams. Other times he dreamt of being able to leave the facility and roam the ruined streets and byways of what was left of there, or just floating somewhere in time and space, doing nothing. Even as they were strange and even scary from time to time, his dreams were the one thing that the Chronicles truly treasured. He repositioned his head on the foam-like pillow and began to traverse the realms of dreams once more. Even though he knew the quiet darkness and silence would not last long, he knew this, but still wanted to get everything he could in what time was left for him and his dreams. Time seems to slow as imagination starts to move, and there he is once more, traveling towards a large, glowing golden orb in space. Faster, 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 passing through and entering into the space on the other side of Vegas. Buzz, 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 beep, buzz. He groaned as he tapped the device once more. However, this time, there would be no accompanying dark and quiet. This time was time for the real world. He was a Chronicles, and this was the world he was forced to endure in those long times between his sweet dreams, or nightmares at times it would seem. This was the life and time of a Chronicles during the developmental stage of living existence, allocated to Section 3 of the Red Pod with no current restrictions, and clone from a clone and human integration after the no more daytime. The Chronicles laughed out loud as the outer light switched on and almost all at once with a clicking, buzzing sound. He laughed as he rolled up his left sleeve of his shirt. The inner light turned on as he looked down at his arm and the markings he can remember always being there. He laughs out loud again. He had been told what it actually meant many years ago when he was just a little boy. That was how the language was on there. It actually contained much data, although it took up less space. Known existence 3 Red Pod, no restrictions, clone, human, integration, after the ND. KE3RNOCHIAN. This is what it said, but in actuality it was just another set of numbers and letters, and even this was contained in the binary qualities of the language of the Chronicles, this being a laser imprinted series of bars of various widths and lengths. This was the official language of the Chronicles here in this sector. There were many other types of variations of different coded markings. The Chronicles also had a spoken tongue, and they used to go communicate with each other during the developmental period at least. After this time, then they forgot about spoken language and just relied on the Chronicles barcode system of communication and interaction to a greater degree with the central intelligence. Each Chronicles that reached that age of calling endures this part of their existence until they are no more and allocated for the highest benefit to mix with a collective sustenance ratio separated by function into individuality colored and textured syrups. The syrups were slowly fed through transparent tubes to the hatchery section. Another boring day, he thought to himself as he walked towards one of the sides of the cube-shaped area. When he touched it with his right hand, an opening appeared. He walked through the opening and into the hall. This hall was wide and full of Chronicles, all types, shapes, and sizes of Chronicles, were here, and all slowly walking towards the same direction. The Kanakian stepped out, allowing the portal to close behind him, and took his place in the slowly moving mass of Kanakians down towards the cleansing chambers. And this is how each and every morning started. This was also how each and every day ended. He could not remember it ever being different. Wake up, get up, clean, eat, study, maintenance, eat, rest, social gathering, and then get clean, and at last sleep. The sleep part he did not mind, because that's when he could finally escape this world of his and traverse the realms of dreams. The social gathering times were not bad either. During the social gathering time and each day, he was able to interact with friends and a few Kanakians he had known partially the whole of his life thus far. The rest of the time during each day did not mean much to him. It was mostly just filled with a bunch of stuff that he would have to know later in his existence. Most of the time, he just wanted to get away from it all. It was this overwhelming feeling. It was overwhelming at times, but this is the way it was being a Kanakian on planet Dare, located closest to the golden small star known as Degas. Dare was a planet in this system that was slowly dying and had been for some time. At one time long ago, it was a flourishing planet with many natural resources and a variety of creatures, some very intelligent. In this long ago time of natural life, the star Degas was much larger and shone a bright yellow. After ages and ages, the star began to get larger and hotter. It began unleashing horrible storms and super radiated the planet to the point that almost ended all life. That is when what can be remembered of this kind began to dwell far beneath the surface and used machines and computer technologies to monitor the surface of Dare for ages to come. Degas had turned into a red giant star and then went supernova. Almost all the life that was being safe and preserved for ages was gone. Now just an old, baked, and extremely ruin of what was, at one time, a glorious civilization. Even the upper chambers of the facility could not shield these people from the radiation and heat, and now just leave silent testimony of the one-time remaining humans lived before the no more, before the end, back when things involved some ritual and mystery, a time when people acted and danced and wrote stories, made movies and films and played games. For some strange reason, the Kanakian had always thought it more natural to do such things. However, Central Intelligence does not seem to allocate much towards such pursuits. This is why the Chronakian and his Chronakian friends did what they did. This is why they had the little hideout, and where they would meet and share relics of the world that used to be. The nearby star known as Degas is now known as a brown dwarf star. It is shrinking and eventually may result in a black hole or a wormhole according to Central Intelligence. At this time, the surface of the planet Dare is only inhabitable by machines, or Zybor. The Zybor are what is left of the Chronakians and other species of humanoids after the developmental phase, and the service maintenance times are over. The Zybor have left and ended their natural life as humanoids here on Dare, and have started a different kind of life. One that is part flesh, but mainly machine, with computer technologies. They have had no feelings, or memories, or even minds for that matter. After some merging with Central Intelligence, it seems as though the person, or the personality or mind of the individual is gone, or removed, or something. No one really understands or knows what actually happens, but after that phase, they are basically just running on programs that they are altered daily by recharging and tapping into the Central Intelligence. The Central Intelligence holds all records and knowledge of the planet Dare and maintains complete order and efficiency. Without the invention of the Central Intelligence, which was finally developed from years and years of researching artificial intelligence and virtual reality and such, it takes care of everything here on Dare. It chooses when to create you or when to destroy you. It decides when you live as the Chronakian does, or when it changes and becomes something else. This is how the humanoids in this part of the galaxy manage to stay alive this long. The Chronakian wishes he could change it. It works, but it could be so much more enjoyable and fun. But Central Intelligence does not seem to easily allow such form of thought. Primarily, it is the younger Chronakians with no known restrictions that can get away with what him and his friends would do on an almost daily basis. Because of the radiation exposure, for the most part, the Central Intelligence sends the younger Chronakians to the areas of the facility near the surface to repair and access ancient databases and retrieve what they can do to help the Central Intelligence get a better idea of exactly what was it that happened, and then to make it so the Chronakians could understand. There were only so many years that they were permitted to go so close to the surface, and because of this, their more young and innocent phase of life ended about 30 years as they joined the ranks of Zybor, and then finally are returned to the benefit of all future Chronakians. The surface of the planet was strictly forbidden except for the Zybor, but the Chronakian and his friends made it that far one time. It was a few years ago.